the Public Relations, Office of the President, Dr. Yusuf Toure, Chinandum Ayuba, I hope I got that right, Dr. Mama Swane, Dr. Yaya Cham, Mr. Musa Bak, Michael H. Seka, students of various schools, parents of Abdou Komma, special guests of this August gathering. Welcome all to the book launch of the Dribbles And Drools of West Africa. I'm just going to do a simple introduction about what the book is. The Dribbles And Drools of Africa is a both mirror and a background, a courage examination of a challenge that continues to save the African story, and a passionate call towards renownable and honest urgency. The book comes from the deep-rooted realities of corruption, nepotism, tribalism that dwells in despair. It's not only that, but an awakened conscience that inspires change. Beyond exposing these obstacles, the author offers practically empowering solutions, affirming that African struggles are either permanent nor forever. At the heart of this work is a powerful appeal to the youth of custodians of tomorrow to rise, to take up ownership and unite across divided in the collection task of rebuilding a continent. Progressive in vision and a book also champion the rightful place of women, condemning their marginalization as the costly injustice that continue to hinder African development. It consists that true progress can only be achieved when every voice is valued and every potential matters. Within this page lies hope, resilience, and belief in African promise. The Dribbles And Drools of Africa by Abdou Komma, in his second book, set the tone of a new awakened call for produce comfort, our challenge, and the seed to future define not only what holds us back, but what we choose to become as African child, African kids, educationists, agriculturists, you name it. My name is Abdou Komma, and I will be moderating this honorable book launch by our only brother, a product of Africa, a son of this land, the Gambia. My name is Abdou Komma, and you're all welcome. I don't know who's for that. Thank you. First, we are going to have Madam Ramantulai to give us the opening remarks. Are you here to give us the opening remark? Ramantulai Jallo, are you set? A round of applause for her while she comes, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ramantulai Jallo, and I have the privilege to open this gracious occasion today. Beyond titles, however, I just want to say that I am a believer of power of honest African telling story, which is why I am so proud to stand behind this book today. All protocols duly and respectfully observed. I believe our presence here today signifies a shared respect for literature. We have all come out to support a book that doesn't hide anything. The Dribbles And Drools of Africa by our dear author Abdou Komma. Usually, when we talk about our continent, we have the need to be loud, we have the urge to make sure that we are perfect or we are heard, but today, we are here for the quiet and honest realities. The parts of our lives that are a bit messy, that are a bit raw, and that are entirely human. Before we go any further, I want to look around the room and simply thank our elders for laying the foundation for us. And to our colleagues and friends who have supported Abdou Komma, even when it was hard to continue writing. And to everyone who showed up here today, because you are a fan of literature, or because you are a fan of a good storytelling, or because of you just loved books. This event tonight would not have been a launching without you. Your presence here makes this launching a community and not just an event. Abdou Komma, known as the perpetual poet, has handed us something very special this afternoon. It is a book that doesn't ask for permission to be what it is. It's unrefined, it's raw, it's honest, and it is ours. So let us embrace it. Let's engage and let's celebrate the fact that our stories, in all its complexities, are finally being told the honest way, complementing the works of our literature and writers. You're all welcome, and I am honored to officially declare this launch open. Thank you.
As they say, my name is Amibojang Sisoho. Even my name shows the discrimination women have been facing. People ask me, are you Bojang or Sisoho? I tell them I'm both. Because we had a system that forced us to choose, and we were defiant. That's why we chose the double barrel name. I'm a broadcaster by profession. We were told to choose which name to use. I was born and named Amibojang as a broadcaster. That's the name I use. But on our papers, they told us to choose whether we are Mrs. or Miss. To choose Mrs. Sisoho means my Bojang name will disappear. I say, what about if I am divorced in between and I have started using Sisoho, nobody knows my Bojang name, what happens? So that's why some of us, as activists, we have the double barrel names. You will see my generation of activists, you will see that name coming up, having two names. The reason I support Abdou, I don't know Abdou from anywhere. It's through social media that I detected and followed Abdou. I read his posts, I followed what he did. And still now I do. Even though I'm very busy, at odd times I'll be on social media to follow key people who I think are transformative in their thoughts and how we need to change ourselves to change our society. I appreciate Abdou for being a young person. Over 15 years ago, when I trained around Abdou's community, and having representatives from Basende, I didn't know that I was going to be with Abdou here today. We were just doing what Abdou is telling us to do. Reflect, change through advocacy. And it is how we have become mother and son today. So Abdou, congratulations and keep it up. The Dribbles And Drools of Africa. I am so busy these days. I leave home very early, I go home very late. It is when I'm in the vehicle that I will read Abdou's book, because I didn't want to be in the dark when it comes to what Abdou writes. Picking up, I realized that the publication of the book is also timely. It is about politics of life. What is politics of life? Dr. gave us a definition of politics here. Organizing ourselves. How do we organize ourselves? Who are we? We all claim one word, citizens. But as citizens, as Abdou put it, we have responsibility. It is when we feel our responsibilities, that is when Abdou's questions become relevant. He asks us questions. He asks questions about being political. I would like to really quote the phrase he said, hygienic politics. Why hygienic? Politics should be politics. If it is unhygienic, who made it so? Abdou forces us to think about that. Abdou forces us because he raises the questions of when choosing our leaders. We choose our leaders based on pride. We choose our leaders based on our proximity, who we know. Abdou advised us to look beyond that and choose leaders based on ability and the potential and the hope that they will bring change we want. But we have to ask ourselves, if Africa is still poor, after over 60 years of independence, how come? People will raise the big elephant in the house, corruption. But then the question is, what is corruption? Because we need to know something before we deal with it. When Abdou tells us corruption, directly or indirectly, is affecting our lives, we have to then ask, what is corruption? If corruption is something we are all guilty of, then how are we going to solve it? Then we have to look in the mirror, as my dear brother said here, look at ourselves and then see whether we are a reflection of what we want to be. If corruption is talked about in public spaces, the first thing that comes to mind is officials in positions of authority, the leaderships, whether it's at the highest level, middle level, or at the lower level, whether it's in a formal setting or informal setting. We have to question what corruption is. Can corruption be done by one person? No. The minimum you can have for corruption to take place will have to be at least 2 people. That's what the Wolof say, Bena lam du kede. One bango will not make noise. You must have 2 or more. If our leaders are corrupt, then are they mirroring our society? We have to look at it. Because Abdou reminded us the values we have in the past. And those values came with resilience, responsibility, hard work. As you saw in the performance by the young people here, they showed us how our elders use and organize themselves in a political way to survive. One is a smith, one is a slave, one is a leather worker. All that is not because of the higher dignity of the person. It's about organizing our society. That is politics. Organizing our society in such a way that each of us will have responsibility towards the greater good. Even the ones we call the noble, they may not be the smith, they may not be the leather worker, they may not be the slave, but they also have responsibility towards those slaves. We were told that because you are the noble, when the slave works, then you also take responsibility of everything else in feeding that slave, clothing the slave, housing the slave, there were responsibilities and roles that were there, clearly spelled out for society. But because society corrupted itself, I will not say people corrupt society, we corrupted ourselves. How did we corrupt ourselves? If today I am the slave, I do all the work, yet my noble master or whatever decided not to provide for me, then I will not be sincere and genuine in the labor I provide for that master. That's corruption. It's beginning, it's coming out. Let's move forward to our generation, where Abdou reminds us that if the leaders are corrupt and not doing the right thing, poverty entrenches itself. If the leaders are in the system we call it, that is government, then government does business with who? Government does business with the business people outside of government. So if government, for example, tells you to construct the road from, let's say, Barajali, and it is $100, you decide that, oh, Officer X is not earning $10. So let me give him $20 so that he will be able to fast track my paperwork. Who is corrupt? Businessman is corrupt. The officer is corrupt because the officer signed up to say, I'm going to work for a service on a contract, that is, I agreed to receive this salary. When I acknowledged and received and accepted that appointment, there's a salary attached to it, and I accepted. Why should I then insist that the person I'm giving service to should pay me again? That is corruption. So this is why the issue of corruption has to be examined at different levels. If the cleaner is given a bottle of bleach, you empty half of it and take it home. Is the cleaner corrupt or not? The cleaner is corrupt. If the driver is supposed to buy 10 liters and he buys 8 liters, is the driver corrupt or not? He's corrupt. So, when we come to the society, I know that I need something, and this is the policy that says that this is the route you should pass through. The process is A, B, and C. I want to jump A and B and come to C because my auntie or my uncle is in that position. Am I corrupt as an outsider or not? I am corrupt. So we are all corrupt. Now, let us go back to what Abdou suggests. Let us look at ourselves, the resources we have as human beings, our human capacity, and review how we utilize that capacity. With sincerity, with dignity, with commitment, and every day we stand up, even today, before we started with our national anthem, renewing our pledge and the promise. But are they just words? Or are they things we internalize to be able to achieve what Abdou is calling for? If we dribble and we follow the draws in our continent, in our country, in our homes, in our society, then we have to reflect again. We cannot change from outside. We have to change inside as individuals because it is individuals that make up society. If we change as individuals, then we will have a beautiful society because nobody will go and hit your neighbor's fence. Nobody will break your neighbor's window. Nobody nobody will go to office and pick up something that is not yours, not to make sure that it is not just appearing in the papers, but you ensure that you create a system in such a way that you will be able to cheat that very system that you created. If we are not honest, if we are not straightforward, if we are not truthful and courageous to be able to assert the truth, we will not change Abdou for years and years and years. But you know why? I am very hopeful. With Abdous around in the Gambia, these young girls today further give me hope. You will realize on the high table, I'm the only woman, and I'm not among the doctors. One of the reasons, the first thing my parents thought about me is to get married. After high school, before you even know what you had, whether you pass or fail, thank God you reach Form 5. The next thing is the marriage is on Thursday. They are lucky today that they will be saved from the predicament some of us have gone through. That is because change is taking place, but because it's so slow, we cannot see it. If it wasn't for change, I would not be standing here today as the director of press, at the office of the president, coming to discuss on a public forum issues that are political. If it wasn't for change that happened, that would not happen. But because change has happened, and we have seen and tested how change can bring in freedom, we eager for more. As they say, I forgot the literature term, where the guy said, asking for more. My literature teacher will kill me. Anyway, but what I'm trying to push is, because it's so nice to be free, we are taking it for granted. And because one of the speakers said here, when you stretch your hand to say, I am free, this is my right, be careful not to touch his face, because his also starts from there. So, roles and responsibilities are key in society for us to have a stable society with stability, with dignity, with human beings progressing without obstructing each other. Because if we follow rules and responsibilities, we will respect the diversity that we have in society. It is only when you respect diversity that you will acknowledge that even though I am different with you, I have a different opinion from you, still we respect each other, we shake hands, because what we are all fighting for is for the betterment of one thing, that is the Gambia. Because we all want the best for the Gambia, the issue now becomes, which route do we take? I want to come to Bruceby, here today at the Motherland. We came up to Cape Point Junction. The driver said, I'm going via Cape Point. I said, no, I'm coming through the Batin Harding Highway. He said, no, but we'll get to Batin Harding Highway because we have to go through Cape Point, come back, and then we get to Batin Harding Highway. That is the difference when it comes to partisan politics. No politician will tell you, I don't want schools to be built for my children. No politician will tell you, I don't want hospitals, or I don't want roads, I don't want water for my people. No, they all want the same thing. The difference is how do we do it, and how do we get there? These are the differences. So therefore, why should we fight over it to reach a stage where it brings us to what Abdou says and calls tribalism in politics? It should not be there if we are all genuinely wanting the same thing for the country. All we need to do is convince each other. Is it better to come from Banyu straight to Batin Hadi or go through Cape Point to come to Batin Hadi? That's all we need to do. Then we will not have hate speech, we will not have tribalism, we will not have religious biases or any other biases or differences, even to the risk of having gender biases in politics. Why? We come back to what we all tend to celebrate, culture. For me, culture is dynamic. It's not static, it changes with times and generations. With that change taking place, it is influenced by knowledge through education, sensitization, and exposure. So therefore, with our generation today, if you tell my mother that it is Annie who is standing on the platform, talking to the public where men are, from her grave she will be shaking. Because that was not expected of women. But now, the question is, if we do not want Annie to stand here as a female to talk, yet still, all the men here proudly call themselves husbands and fathers, brothers. So, why? What's the hypocrisy then? It's a hypocrisy. It's just because it doesn't touch us, then it's okay. But when it touches us, we fight back. And remember that there's only one seat. And that position in government is very limited. That is why everybody is fighting for it. Let us fight, but let us fight the right way. If we fight the right way, Africa will be proud of itself. The resources Abdou mentioned in the book that are available to Africa, we can maximize it if we fight corruption within and outside. And if it is Africans who go out to exploit the very resources they have and give it to the outsiders, then how can we claim and blame outsiders? So whenever we point a finger, let's look at the one pointing to us, so that we will be able to address ourselves to bring about change and make sure that the rights we are crying to make sure that we enjoy them the right way. I love it when Abdou writes about women's issues and gender, because that's my passion. When he wrote in his book that he used his pen to fight for the human rights of the girl child, I was like smiling, because he just has to use his pen. We have to go and sweat it in Basende, in Giroba, in Woodley, for it to be recognized. And through that, we had to go, you said you have to, somebody said every 100 success, there is 1,000 challenges along with it. We had to go through that, Abdou. So don't give up. That's why I always support such people who I feel that they are carrying on my cause. I personalize it because I feel it, I lived it. That is why I love it. So each of us have responsibility. Our responsibility is to ensure that what we want outside to see in other people is right there within us. If I want him to be good, I should be able to practice goodness in me so that I reflect what I want him in that person. We all have responsibility. It has been a long one and a long day for all of us, but I have to say thank you, Abdou. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time to listen to it. Thank you.
A round of applause one more time for Auntie Gordon. Thank you so much for that. Before we proceed, I just want to acknowledge the sponsors of this event. National Center for Arts and Culture, Ministry of Transport and Work, AREPC, Green Innovation, Motherland, which is this venue we are in, and Fantos Technologies. Thank you all for sponsoring this event. We know that young Gambians are having it very difficult to make amendments chasing their dreams and having to just open up the door to make sure that their dreams are realized. We know that Gambia is very challenging. We have a lot of young people who are doing amazingly well, but the support is lacking behind. But we want to acknowledge the CEO and founder and all the managers that are responsible for the land for sponsoring this event for free. A round of applause for that. A round of applause for that. Africell also provided this backdrop you're seeing behind for free. Young people needs to be invested. A round of applause for that. And these dignitaries we have here, they have a lot of things to do this afternoon, but they spare their time to come answer to a small boy who is just rising from the abscess of writing. It makes sense because when we have young people that are daring to dream, we need to have people like this on the table so that they can believe, somebody somewhere will believe that it is okay for you to be a dreamer and actually realize that. We want to thank all the sponsors who made this event a massive success, and to our special guests for dedicating their precious time to be here to answer to a call of a young man. This is what we need, and when we look behind us, we see people like this, and you, the audience, we are optimistic that Gambia will move ahead. And until then, we will have a poetry performance from the bright future. Brain, is your team ready for interlude? Brain? We want to also thank Auntie Ami Bojan Sisaho, Director of Press, the State House. That means that the President is already in our midst. A round of applause for that. We are having a young audience, but I'm not seeing the energy. We need to give it a round of applause. We are going to clap for people until it's our turn. Thanks to all our special guests and the young man behind this brain. He launched his book a year back, and here he is today, this year, launching another massive book. We know that the narratives of Africa have been changing over the years, and it's high time for Africans to support and believe in Africa. Until then, we want to call on Bright Future. Are you done, Brain? They are going to give us a massive poetry performance. Brain, are you done with your team? We are set to hear from you. If you're on ground, please be here.
I am Africa. I am the mother.
Come, what do I say?
I
peace. I'm sure you already know that Gambia is loaded with talent.
And say their legs away. Your rivers are not what they are. Africa, you are not enough. You are the ocean of peace. But today I will be proud. Say it loud in the heart of the art, the story begins. The color of the land, the beat of the drum, the voice of the people. A call to remind us where we are from. Abdou, a dreamer with the hands of God, created a brand where stories are told. Turning fabric into silver, bread and gold. Let's bring one for the message we do. Each step, each speech, a song, each color, a memory, each product, a history. Telling us where we are from. This is what it means to be an African. And we are proud to be African. We are proud. Mr. Komma.
A round of applause for that. We are taking from Bright Stars. We're grateful for that.
As for what I went through, need to be seen meticulously. You all Christianity are so comfortable. See that I am lonely. I am helpless and hopeless. I can sleep even when I am sleeping, because what I am feeling right now is so bad. Now, men who fought for Fanta American woman, better than a doctor or February after time. You can see a song that Nyaka B, that's some way, some arena, some again. Keep us so better and long and Nyaka, but that is smart. The Lord be listening. Pastor, some of Papa, the Lord be listening. Wish you were still around. That I wish you are still around so that I can help you and place you, kiss you on your feet, provide greatest pay and care. This is so a dream that can never and ever be true. Bantu water. Nobody put water na kide. Baba kata look afuna. Ibi kide. Bana was. Bitu jomata. Le jakal. Bayusu bulo bada ukaka kansa le tata and look afuna. Issue was there. That I wish you are still around so that I could get the chance to be motivated and storytelling. Supporting me in pain and celebrating the conquering. But it is sad. It is sad fighting your battle all by yourself. No one will send you to wipe your tears when you are alone. No one will send you to wipe your tears when you are alone. My name is Magai. This market is Magai. My day at later. My father did Magai. See, I sometimes sit and ponder if this is a torture. There's something telling me this is a torture of the nature. And nature goes down like creator and I have to create this house of creation. Pulling up to die at the mountain. Every soul is tested and every soul is tested on opinions. So it's my father's soul. He tested but then this stuff is killing me in me. I cannot believe that my father. Be with me so that. Please come back to me so that I can feel the me inside me. That I miss you. By your hair, Papa Nana, Ben Wedding, Bami Radona, Papa Mapu. See, it brings an inspiration to me. See that when the movie come and chat with their father, and all I can do is write and set it for my father, because he's gone on the room forever.
Thank you for sharing your light on that. Now we want to call on Madam Rohi El Sise, who is representing Mr. Chidem Aiwa, MBA, who is in the US, but he sent a representative, Madam Rohi El Sise. Madam Rohi El Sise, if you are set, can we have you on board?
El Sise, and I'm here to represent Mr. Chinedum Igwe, who is the Executive Director of the International Association of African Authors and Scholars. African writers are pen warriors. In this book, Abdou goes war with his pen for solutions from corruption, ineffective rulers, nepotism, tribalism, accusation of excessive personal wealth, marginalization, and leadership without the vision of nation building. Sometimes I want to cry for Africa's resources, both humans and mineral wasting above the beneath the soil, but I have run out of tears, and Abdou has come to help us not to cry, but to offer solutions with his book. I am happy to be part of this book project as a solution. This book is a way forward to victory and not backward reflection. Abdou is fighting for Africa in this book. But this fight is not for him alone. This is a collective fight, and everyone is invited to rescue our amazing continent of Africa. But we can conquer with our strategy. Abdou has the plan in this book, so let's buy this book and read it and follow the guide to win for Africa. In conclusion, the International Association of African Authors and Scholars organization is another solution for Africa in coordination with the ALI program, where we train African leaders from the grassroots, learning leadership skill first before leadership position, for individual development, organizational growth, and nation building. Also, youth engagement is a positive investment towards nation building. And the early continental campus will engage candidates and scholars with visionary leadership curriculum and long-term prediction to make them focus with aggregate reading skills and transform them collectively from informed readers into great leaders. Abdou has inspired me deeply, and I want everyone here to carry this truth. I will stand by him, his courage, his pen, his vision. They deserve empowerment. They deserve our collective strength. Let this moment be remembered as the day we choose not just to applaud Abdou, but to work with him side by side until Africa rises. Abdou, I stand with you, and Africa will never forget. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam. Thank you so much, Rohi LCC, for that inspirational speech. Now, we are almost at the tail end. We want to resume back to the pledge, and finally we hear from the author himself. We still want to resume on the pledge. Who want to support purchasing Abdou's book? We requesting that we resume back to the pledge. And the brother of the day is around, Mr. Babaja. Osis, can you go close to Babaja with the mic?
Please, this one, telecom.
Babaja is a philanthropist who's been helping a lot of young people across the continent. Give him the mic if you want to say a few things. The craft is clear. Now we are set to hear from a short presentation, a short documentary. DJ, can you help us play it? A documentary by the author, Abdou Komma, the reason why we are all gathered today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is the Dribbles and Drools of Africa, a book championed by a young man whose name is Abdou Komma. This is his second publication. His first book was The Bright Bleaches of Love.
I remember the pages of assembly now come with commas in the life. Yes, let me do as a boy. Inside me. I remember in the heart of assembly of my grandmother. I remember seeing Amalia, Muslim, and secondary school, where I socialized in the field of science. I did field science. It has always been a phenomenon. The science students are providers for society. There has been a dominant view in society. Of course, there has been a journey of resilience for me. There has been a journey of sacrifice. There has been a journey of self-dependence. Of course, I face massive challenges from the beginning as a worker. Of course, we look at the something as a material. Investing in improving spiritually, but in form is that you can do. I was down, I was fearful, and I was so much wondering that I cannot do it. It was surprised me that in my parents, most of them only believe in the professions as a writer. Some teachers said, well, I am ready for your feeling, but no. science. Being a writer, as working to do science. Today I have break stereotypes. Today I have break cultures. Today I have break norms. Norms that are used in the rights of society. I open my first book, which is the blind business of law. It is currently available in 6 or 7 international websites in the world languages. The prayer testimony or testament that man can be parents. And now I am talking my second book, which time spreading science with the dribbles and drools of Africa. This book has a lot of the women in society. Of course, as a continent, a significant concerns on the problems and the communities destroying Africa, economic inequality, social disparity, bad governance. We talk more about democracy. This is a champion in a nation. It calls for good governance. It calls for rural participation in government. It addresses the cultures of silence, the cultures of nepotism, the cultures of tribalism. I want to believe as a side student to be a battle of tribbles. We have changed relatives and still now new relatives. I have no doubts if you are anyone who believes that you need to start now. The time is now. If you want to bring somebody can do it. Move from Mazakanu. If you want from Mazakanu can do it. Move from Chavo can do it. If you want from Mazakanu can do it. Move from Kisi can do it. If you want from Mazakanu can do it. Move from Side Musa can do it. There is no reason to want to do it. My journey was a journey of disappointment, a journey of doubts. I was not believing that I would believe. And for that being the case for myself, my journey was a journey of resilience, of determination. And this is why I encourage that. And I hope the journey has been a journey of researching the rules working on wherever you are. I hope you are inspired from the science platform, the media, the college, the government side, the university. I hope you will have a video event where everyone attending this ground of African history, quality our values, talking about communities, and all in Africa is found by ourselves, and from dependency as parasites as we have been looking for centuries. I thank you all, and it's your brother, Abdou Komma, from the Dribbles of President.
A round of applause for our backgrounds and you name it. Somebody told me at some point that young people are doing amazing well in the Gambia, but if you're doing 100 to get to your dreams, know that you have another 1,000 challenges to stop your dream from coming true. But despite of all of the challenges, we need to sport, fight, and make sure that we are crafting our talent to develop it to the international world. Next, we are going to have, or we are set to hear from Dr. Yusufa Tuwe. These are dignitaries actually. They have a vast varieties, a vast experience through their work, but we're summarizing their biographies so that we don't have to keep you here forever. All right? Dr. Yusufa Tuwe is a fascinating public servant with extensive work experience in the health administration and policy implementation. His work has contributed significantly in strengthening health system and public services delivery in the Gambia and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, can we welcome Dr. Yusufa Tuwe on board. Dr. Yusufa Tuwe, you can do better. A whole doctor, you are giving that clap.
What I would say, too soon. Let me extend warm greetings to Madam Ami Sissoho Bojang. And okay, Dr. Mama, and then Yaya Cham and Baba, is it Baba Ja? And the rest of you. I must say, this is a very interesting moment. I happen to know Abdou Komma through his literary feat, and I have found him quite amazing. So in the first time I met up with him, we clicked, and we've been communicating since then. Being a very passionate youth in this field, I think he needs support. This is what Africa needs. And despite my schedule, I think it is important, to come over here and grace this occasion. It's not easy to bring me out to ceremonies like this, but he succeeded in doing that. So I am going to talk about some very old-fashioned things, but I hope we will all relax and listen keenly. Maybe towards the end of the day, I would have contributed something in my own way to what Abdou has been doing. I will not be able to match Dribbles and Drools of Africa. I have had that interaction with some other authors. I have read some books about the predicament faced by the African continent. And even when I said, okay, I want to have this book, I want to read this, I had some preconceptions, but this is something I am still very agitated. At some point, when I did my piece, I was like, okay, I am buying, but it was not yet out even. So I was in haste, to have access to this book. I will be talking about what is right and what is wrong. In my own way, you might see this as the principle of agreeing to disagree. First, let's hear from the 21st century American philosopher, John Rawls, who argued that, and he used his argument with the use of a theory he called the veil of ignorance, that fair laws could be enacted when those enacting them were asked to propose a bill on the understanding that after it was enacted into law, they would die and reincarnate into different segments of the same society, and that the socio-economic conditions of their reincarnated lives would not be guaranteed. They may reincarnate into any socio-economic setup, and the laws they enacted for that segment of society in their earlier lives would now govern them. So it's like that way we can have fair laws. That goes to say we may have some giant leaps socially, yet there may be significant debris of hate, spite, and or negativity within our so-called heightened social consciousness, or what we may call emotional intelligence as a collective. And I suggest we ask ourselves whether this debris is insignificant enough to leave the center of our social cohesion intact. But again, I do not want to suggest that selflessness is impossible. In most instances, the struggle for self is the root cause of human disagreements. That in turn presumes that in a situation where the extent of human selfishness has become the yardstick, and where a certain level of selfishness could be acceptable, then that measure of agreeability will now position us as a nation on the ladder of civility. This goes on to say, whatever we do as human beings, we have some element of selfishness, right? Even when we pray, we want to go to heaven. It's about us. It is my conviction, and it may be yours too, that a person's personality is what is notable. Good and evil are inherent in these personalities, and the balance between good and evil determines our actions and reactions, and ultimately, that is what defines us. We do not have time to delve into the epistemology of good and evil. I may fall victim to my own inner evil. Simply put, I am not prepared to openly manifest my inability, to see good beyond mere affective experiences. Today we have witnessed a heightened youth consciousness. This group of intelligent young humans wishes to define or even shape a new world order. The fundamental question is, who has the authority to create a new world order? I stand here to argue philosophically that throughout history, humans across the globe underwent a form of transformation driven by either coercion or some form of soft power, probably not identifiable at the time. You may call this politics, and I may be tempted to agree with you if the presumption is that politics is the art of managing the affairs of an organized group, a family, a club, a village, or even a nation. And we are simply qualifying that these 4x1 mechanical beings should be considered political animals. Human beings are political animals, but we are somehow mechanical in the sense that we have this 4x1 gripping, hand, and what rises us above all other is the cerebral system. Going back to the youth and their new world order, we cannot deny the fact that despite our heightened social consciousness or emotional intelligence, probably brought to us by the feats in today's technological advancements, there may still be a significant debris of hate, spite, and or negativity within this yearning for a new world order. If this premise is acceptable, then the youth of any nation should welcome the understanding that we have to oppose a popular view non-violently. This is the elephant in the room. It simply means you can swing your hand, I quote, but it stops at where another can defend his or her nose begins. A saying attributed to an American jurist and Supreme Court judge, Holmes Jr. It is noble to moderate your catharsis in a healthy way should you find yourself on the wrong side of a popular view, and that is agreeing to disagree. However, it would be rather unfortunate for anyone to bask in that poignant, debilitating view of protecting one's nose while assuming the liberty to deny any hand swinging, outside that no-flight zone. With this understanding, I can now present my concept of how the youth could be thrown into violence in a society that is not tolerant. It is normal to choose a principle or an ideology in the management of any socio-economic system, with the understanding that no two contrasting principles or ideologies can be used simultaneously, in the management of the same socio-economic system, especially when these contrasting principles or ideologies are backed by contending forces that would not be agreeing to disagree. Let me present an allegorical argument to elaborate this. The literary idol of crime and punishment, Dostoevsky, a Russian writer, depicts a similar scenario in what he calls a Napoleonic war. He presents some self-conceived Napoleons refusing to agree to disagree, with other Napoleonic personalities. The reality, it seems, is that these Napoleons, also known as the extraordinary or the followed, usually have a greater understanding of their followers' weaknesses. In this case, the youth, and play them against a legitimate system rather than simply agreeing to disagree. Among the names of great writers, one cannot overlook the ideas of a man who nearly brought the entire human race to an oblivion. Hitler, excuse my choice of reference, understood the weaknesses of the masses and played on them to his advantage. He argued that the great majority's thoughts and conduct are ruled by sentiments rather than sober reasoning. Sentiments that he considered as not complex but simple and consistent. And he believed this is characterized by not being highly differentiated, but only the negative and positive notions of love and hatred, right and wrong, truth and falsehood. This could rightly be described as the naivety of youth. And I would hesitate to suggest that this naivety is synonymous to the so-called New World Order. I call it so-called because the simple suspicion of a refusal to agree to disagree. There has always been the Hitleric force hovering around self-conceived Napoleons, and to some extent, their principles or ideas are shrouded in a sense of disagreeing to disagree. In fact, Dostoevsky depicts the followed, the Napoleons or the extraordinary, as people who possess the ability to break laws and values, set up new laws and values, and make right out of wrong. Sadly, this righting or correcting the wrong, in most cases, does not take place under a democratic dispensation. And not without the extraordinary exploiting the same naivety we notice in group psychology. A democratic dispensation, one that does not conflict with our culture. We may say one's culture is backward. On the contrary, I think culture is always the measure of a community's worth. Allow me to delve a little into our understanding of the relationship between culture and democracy. I always hold that culture is solid, dimensional, and composed of archetypal blocks, while democracy is fluid. partly because I agree with the psychoanalyst Carl Gustav Jung. A fluid democracy should therefore resemble the shape of our culture and not the other way around. This is the form of democracy that recognizes our values and our scientifically accepted norms. For Fanon, a culture manipulated through what I would refer to as external or foreign interference create norms that, in my view, are not scientifically accepted. Because such norms reflect the interferer's cultural standards, thereby undermining democracy. It is like taking their values and norms hook, line, and sinker. Carl Gustav Jung's archetypal blocks presupposes a sedimentation of culture, especially as Fanon considers colonization, for instance, a profound psychological process that conditions us to internalize our oppression, to a point that we end up mimicking the colonizer's values and behaviors. Impliedly, any disagreement that does not embrace the notion of agreeing to disagree and yet advocates an idea that is not culturally democratic will in no time have ingratitude gnawing, at its very foundation. Ultimately, every self-conceived Napoleon will exit the stage, and Dostoevsky argues that some of these extraordinary men exit the stage as terrorists or public enemies. And to the very point of their exit, they continue to entertain the notion that the only crime they commit is that they could not complete the process of correcting the wrong. However, I think they simply underestimated the strength of legitimacy, the long hand of justice, or the master plan of the master planner. Chinua Achebe argues in the anthills of the savannah that revolutions are betrayed by ingratitude. I wish to put it differently. Often, revolutions built on illegitimacy will not stand the test of time. Master Achebe ended up staging the fight between the unequal. That is the leopard and the tortoise in the anthills of the savannah. Why did the tortoise take the trouble to disturb the battleground, only to confuse whoever would later come across the scene and mistake the battle for a fight among equals? It was not. Was the tortoise anticipating the emergence of social media in a decade or two after their encounter? In the first place, Achebe's context lacks legitimacy. It was a forceful takeaway, and those who participated in that illegitimacy were caught by nemesis. That, to me, is the brutal truth. I may be wrong. However, I am still thinking. And if I am thinking along these lines, wouldn't I agree to disagree for now? And now I am muddled in my head, excuse me. I would want to stop here. Thank you very much.
That was the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Health. He have highlighted key importance about the importance of support, reaching out to make sure that your dreams are realized. But again, taking up the lead to make sure that the right thing is being done, which are key takeaways for all of us. Up next, we are going to have a poetry performance by the Mandela School of Academy. Are you set? Mandela School of Academy. Are you set to perform for us? Let's give them a round of applause while they come on stage, please. Mandela Academy.
woon.
Ah, mo ndax mu ngi dem sax.
Communities are who migrated from Putajano, wala from Sahara, wala from Asian, Ghana Empire, Bandito from Kankaba in Mali, Jola who migrated from Zimbabwe. However, in each of these communities has a social group which has the running community, where each has their unique responsibility and function. The next society. In each, there is noble group, high class or royal family, commoner, trader and farmer, that with a skill-oriented, street who makes use of metal, slave works for their master, which will highlight their individual force and responsibility. We have the noble.
I am a noble. We are the husband of the royal power. We are called for in my kingdom. We are called to in Wolof, in Bensula. We are called to Kandigo in Sarawak. The role of a noble has various across cultures and historical periods. But general, nobles serve the following function: military services and leadership. I being the noble doesn't mean that I am better than the other social groups. I am just here to serve and guide Aparakamansa.
Now we have learned and understand the roles and functions of noble. We have the griot.
I am a griot. Fatalo in Mandika. Gawen in Kuala. Gawla in Pula and Jare in Saraw. We play a vital role in our society by narrating history, praising him and sharing information. We use different tools for work, such as drum, kora, flute, and cooking. Each has their unique sound to entertain, inform, and so tell me, a society that would not need a griot, kung panyugunuan.
Now we have learned and understand the roles and functions of griot. We have the leader with us.
I am Eledawo, Karante in Mandi, Ude in Wolof, Karante in Pula and Sumale in Sarahu. Our role and function to society is to transform animal hide into useful products that are essential for dignity, traders and labor. Our work support both practical and informal travel and trade. Tell me, a society that will not need us Now we have learned and understand the roles and functions of leather workers. We have this needs. I am a slave, no more in Mandinka, now they're in Pula, Tega in Wolof and Nandemi in Sarawuli. We are not for dedication to work. We play a better role in our community, making tools out of metal, which help us to do our farm work. If we did not make this saw and cutlass, tell me how are we going to practice farm work, which is our primary occupation. So respect and honor us for our unique talent and skill. Now we have learned and understand the roles and functions of smiths. We have the slaves.
I am a slave. Bojang in Mandinka, Jan in Wolof, Matira in Puna and Tome in Sarawuli. We play a vital role in our society. We work for our masters and send messages across our kingdom and other kingdoms. Our society needs manpower. Our rules and functions are very important in our community, so we should be treated with respect and not disrespect.
Now we have learned and understand the roles and functions of slaves. Each of those social groups should be cherished and respected for their unique rules and responsibilities. In some societies, so many have misinterpreted this. So many have abused it while some do not comprehend it. It is high time we put emphasis on this to outgrow our misconception. A high class doesn't mean you are better than others or they should be treated badly or disrespected. In some society, we understand peace has no place to restriction. This led the young ones in a state of confusion and devastation. In some society, nobles don't marry someone from another social group. These have caused more harm than good in our society. In some communities, slaves and nobles do not pray or sit in the same car. This is suffering and war in our community.
All of us young people that are rising up, we will not look at other people from different political parties, from different religion or tribe as enemies, but as allies. Because the key of diversity of the world is how all of us are different. Because imagine all of us have the same face, same height, same everything. None of us will be inspiring. Because of diversity, that's why we are looking up to people. That's why when someone passes, you look at the height, look at the face, look at the nose, or something else. So I hope that young people see each other as allies, as armed forces that is ready to move the agenda of the Gambia instead of doing an unhealthy competition like Auntie Ami said, Benalam du Kalam. Benalam du Kalam, if you want to go far, you need to go with people because you cannot achieve anything without the invent of other people alongside or rallying behind you. Now we are set to hear from another poet from the UK. His name is Abdou Karim. We are set to hear from him. And an applause for our poet from the UK. Let's encourage him.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So, I'm privileged to be up here today. It's an opportunity for Abdou Komma. Yes, please. So, yeah, I had the opportunity to meet Abdou Komma, and it's not been a long time, but for the time that I've known him, he showed true heart and true energy. He talks from a perspective that is close to my heart also. I'm the great-grandson of Claude McKay, who's a famous poet. He's the first Jamaican-American poet. And what he used to talk about from a black people's perspective was a lot of pain and a lot of struggle and a lot of corruption in his lifetime. Abdou also speaks from this genre, being from Africa, and he sees his struggles, he sees his people, he sees the level, and he sees where things need to go, in the direction it needs to go in order for all of us to prosper, in order for all of us to reach a level that we can be comfortable. So I appreciate what he's done. As a poet and as a dedication to both Abdou and my great-grandfather, I have a small poem to recite, and it goes like this. Jealousy is a killer. It is a lot of pressure. We put that weight on our shoulders because we are the soldiers. Time runs slow when we need it to run quick, and opportunities are put so we just can't quit. Being strong for you, it might be wrong to be. Say anything other than this reality. We have to open up our eyes and make sure we can see, because there's a lot of corruption and pussy that we far free to split we. Day by day, God, we still holding on, thinking about our past even though it was dead wrong. We can never ever forget what's happened, because when things happen for reasons. Mood swing changes, different like seasons. And reasons for that because people love chat. Words when it comes from them, alright. For that, they get clapped. As we walk around town, we have a sound in our ear. We're thinking about our upsets, our strengths and our fears. Dreams come true, but the nightmare's the reality. The worst kind of feeling is when things turn into fatalities. In the middle of our capital, we have messed up Merkins, and a lot of people missing by the way people get their perks in. First in, media chat about the worst thing. But the worst thing is the stereotypical with black skin. It's a fact. People aiming at the grind king. We're all rolling through the middle, we're all in the fiddle, but they can't blame us. It's been waiting for us. Materialistic pleasures was the so-called rush, that new plush, even though we're tarnished with the same old brush. That main fuss, where I come from, London's dangerous. Hey, it's all here, it's all different. People changing names, but we're still different. We want to be one, we unite as one. I came from UK to Gambia, I say Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. He gave me a chance to look after my father and go forward. Alhamdulillah, Ameen.
The sponsors of this event. One among those key sponsors is Auntie Ami Bojang Sisaho, chairperson of State House. A round of applause. This is not her first time supporting Abdou Komma. His last book launch, The Blind Bridges of Love, she equally donated and bought a lot of books for that event. We still want to say thank you for supporting a young man, a dreamer, a starving dreamer for that matter. We also want to thank the National Center for Arts and Culture, Ministry of Transport and Work, AREP Green Innovation, Motherland, who the manager is Mr. Seka, who gave this venue for absolutely free. A round of applause for Mr. Seka. He's been with Komma, making sure that all the things that are needed for this event to be successful in this venue were catered for. We also want to acknowledge Fortiza Technologies by Alex Pirat. The founder of Fantos Technologies is here. Thank you for supporting this event. We also want to acknowledge Chinem Ekwe, I hope I am pronouncing the name properly, who also bought a book for $50. He's not in the country but purchased the book and said he wanted to support this young man. We also want to acknowledge Mr. Musa Bak, who edited this marvelous book. Over here is Mr. Bak. We know him to be a vibrant teacher and educationist who is very vibrant when it comes to literature, especially in the field of writing, English and literature. Very versatile. We also want to acknowledge the special guests on the high table, those who have dedicated time to be here to witness this occasion. Students from different schools, colleagues and friends of Abdou Komma. We want to acknowledge you for being here and supporting the event. Now we are set to hear from Dr. Mama Sawane, a brief biography of his. He's a renowned international lecturer at the University of the Gambia and other Western universities. He holds a PhD in economics and climate change from the University of Cheikh Anta Diop, Senegal, a master's degree holder in agricultural economics and a bachelor degree in general agriculture, cum laude. His academic and professional engagement have significantly contributed to capacity building among teachers, extension agents, and farmers association across the Gambia. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Dr. Mama Sawane. He deserves better. Another round of applause.
I'm deeply honored, and thank you so much. I want to be a bit formal here. This is indeed a room full of courage, full of optimism, and full of hope, and we can see. As I am to give just few anecdotes from the book which we mentioned, the Dribble and the Drools of Africa. I will first of all say distinguished guests from my far right, Honorable Madam Bojang. This is my first time of meeting her, but I used to hear the name. I know it's a public figure. My brother, Dr. Yusuf, and my colleague, Musa, and my brother here, who has taken their time to be part of us. We also acknowledge all of the invited guests that are present, mainly the students. You are our hope for this country. My colleagues that are present here from the university, also friends of Abdou Komma, as well as other important guests. But most importantly, my greeting goes to Mr. Abdou Komma, who is my student, and today is my teacher. So, Abdou, thank you very much for being here. It is indeed a honor to be before you this evening at the launch of a book entitled The Dribbles And Drools of Africa. You can remember when a student invites you to speak at the back of their ideas, it is no longer about title or hierarchy, that you are a lecturer or is a student. It is about witnessing a growth. It is about witnessing a development. That's why we are here today. We are not just witnessing a launch of a book, but we are also witnessing the courage of a young African whose voice is to talk about or to choose truth and courage. These books exemplify that, which you will see in my few paragraphs. In the book, if you are opportune to have this book, and I know before the end of the day, all of you will have opportunity to have that book, I saw a striking line. Of course, I teach normally world politics, environment and development, which is a 400 level at the university. But when I saw the first title or the first line of the book, it said, Africa is not sort of dreams. She is sort of honest heroes. This is a big statement. And in this statement, it tells us what kind of work is embedded in this book. Abdou does not only offer flattery in this book, but offers a true reflection of our continent, Africa.